I've spotted some questions in the Q&A. Should we just get started on some of that?
Thank you, Dave.
I love how you're on it, Dave.
Henry, I think
You're
the first
so on
I
it.
think the first one you could tackle.
Who, when you say you, as in who you on about?
Henry,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
you can tackle
Dave.
the first one.
Dave, you've got to be clear. Not everybody's as good at doing this sort of hosting stuff as me. But, Henry.
Where do you find the questions?
So the question is, my biggest obstacle is SEO for building websites. I love design, not the technical side of it. How did everyone get through this hurdle when starting their business? I don't know is there anyone else that wants to start off? And because I know I can talk for ages on this topic.
I can jump in on this because this is something that Christy has done. Christy talked about as well. But I would just go into Facebook groups, see what question someone asked, write an article answering it, and then share that article back in the Facebook group. And just doing that just started to increase more people coming to the website and just generate traffic.
Yeah, blogging I think is still the best way to do this, you know, and basically answer questions that people may ask on Google. And you know, so I mean, SEO has always been my main thing, and in the beginning I didn't even know that this is what I was doing. You know, I just kept blogging and doing exactly that, you know, so I think that is definitely one of the best ways of doing this and to get started.
I totally agree with that, because when I first started blogging as well, it was almost a case of what do I want to learn? What do I want to learn about? What do I think is going to be relevant to my audience? So then I would think about those questions, put myself in their shoes, write the article, and then off of the back of that, when I was sharing it, I'd get more questions being asked. So then it gave me more inspiration for the next thing to write about, the next thing to post about, and it just grew. And then it almost become like the expert in that area, and it kind of thought leadership, right? So then the SEO that was generated off the back of that was really great. But I think also personally, I'm trained as a website designer developer, so I have a little bit of that technical knowledge of putting it together, and I knew some basics, and I've realized that some people don't have that element of it. So when I bring that to the forefront, I think that helps a lot to sharing knowledge, I think.
Yeah, the idea for SEO space came from questions in Facebook groups. I just saw trends of people asking loads of questions about SEO in Facebook groups, and I was like, how come there's not just a central source or easy way to solve this? So like whatever niche you're in, Sarah, whether you've got, you know, your niche is just Squarespace, or your niche is like, I don't know, coaches, for example, go where those people spend the time, they're watering holes, see what questions people are asking. And if you're in my SEO talk earlier, use a tool called Keywords Everywhere. Type the question you see people asking into Google, and Keywords Everywhere will show you related keywords to what people are searching related to that search term. And it will just allow you to see, okay, what is the keyword that people search into Google related to that? And then exactly as I think it was Will or Kirsten that said, just create a blog answering that topic. And that's how I built the waiting list for SEO space. And it's how I'm sure quite a lot of people, like Christine, I'm sure you do it with ecom. Like there's so many ecom questions about Squarespace, and you can just look at like the roots, the Facebook groups where all the messy stuff is going, and then step up onto Google and create like a nice piece of content about it.
Can I hop in? So I think also one thing that we forget about as Squarespace designers is like we're so like getting out of our own heads in terms of the jargon that we're using, because I'm horrible with my own SEO, but the success that I have found has been when I am like getting out of my own head and using terminology that my clients are using. Like no one knows it's a browser icon or a favicon, but if I'm using hashtags that are like, how do I change the gray cube in Squarespace? How do I get rid of the black box on my tab on my Squarespace website? Like, those are the things that are getting more, because no one, I think so many people in our industry are like so caught up in like using their own, like the professional jargon to sound.
Sorry, can I just say, anybody that's typing or like messaging Dave, can we mute our things if we're not talking and we've got to do stuff, just because I can't hear? Okay, great.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry,
Are you at the end? You're good. You're good.
Okay.
That's why, and that keywords everywhere tool is so good, because like, even if you don't know what the black box thing is, like Jen was speaking about, type it in and like keywords everywhere will like show you what the I don't know, the words normal people are saying, like when they talk about Squarespace.
The normies.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
Normie.
Yeah, I do that a lot for like e-commerce stuff, or I kind of started coming up with blog ideas by like reading Squarespace documentation that answered a question and then translating that into like my own words, because I know that like nobody was going to read some boring Squarespace help doc. But if I could take like what they were saying and be like, okay, here's what they really meant to say, and then like mix in the things that like, you know, we wish customer care would just give you the straight answer on. I was like, oh, I'm going to tell you like the real answer. But I kind of start like most ideas from, okay, because all of the info is out there, right? It's all Googleable. I mean, this isn't novel, but sometimes it just takes saying, okay, I'm going to put this into like phrase it in a way that's just easy to digest. And I'm not going to give you the runaround, and we're going to use plain language, like Jen's saying.
I think that's really key.
Yeah,
because it's normal words that people are actually looking to relate to, right? So if you think about when you think about relaying that information back in normal terms for the normie, it's how do they type, how do they think, and what do they look for? So you retranslate that into like how you would talk to other people or talk to your friends. I think that's really important, because the moment you add like all this technical jargon and knowledge to it, yes, it makes you sound smart, but you've just lost the audience if that's your audience, unless your audience knows that language to start with. So it is about kind of translating it and making it sound human. And I think human to human conversation is just as good, whether it's in, you know, an article or a podcast or anything like that. It just makes things work much better.
Yeah. And then Henry, I'm sure you could weigh in that like the writing it in that kind of super normal language is what SEO, like what Google's looking for anyways, right?
Yeah, it ties quite on to the next question as well about SGE. So for anyone that was in my talk, I spoke a little bit about SGE, Search Generative Experience. It's where Google's providing an AI summary at the top of Google. So rather than having to scroll down and go through search results, there's just going to be like an AI summary at the top answering that question. And what Christine's talking about there is exactly it. People are fed up of having to scroll through 5 different pages on Google to try and find the answer buried down somewhere on the web page, because someone's written a 4,000 word article to answer a question that can be answered in 10 seconds. So like doing your best to match the search intent and providing like a real crisp, clear answer, or supply a value to match the intent while someone is searching that keyword as high up as possible on the web page, is getting rewarded more and more. And is blogging still even relevant? Like, go back to Christine, for example. Christine's a Squarespace e-commerce expert. If Christine wants to feature in that AI snippet at the top of Google anything to do with e-com and Squarespace, Christine's still going to have to show she's the expert by writing content, showing she's relevant, posting on YouTube, getting featured on other websites. So that isn't going away. So even though you might get less clicks, if you want to be the expert, you're still going to have to write content about that topic, even though your website may get less clicks. So,
okay, question. I have a question. Can we ask questions? So like Henry, I kind of hear like what you're saying is that maybe quantity is going to go down. Like maybe you'll have fewer clicks. Like maybe you'll see a downtrend in clicks in the future, but perhaps those might be higher quality because by the time they actually come through, is that kind of what that like a quantity versus quality thing, or is like?
Yeah, I think maybe not quality, but as website owners, we are going to have to make it quality. So we're going to have to do our best to increase our website visitor to lead conversion rate. So for every click we get, we're going to have to do better as website owners to turn as many of those into leads as possible, because we're going to get less clicks. So therefore, like, user experience, providing free value, speaking to the website visitor is going to become more important than ever. And final point is then depth becomes more important. So I am now doing like really hyper specific YouTube videos, because Google owns YouTube, and as much as AI is going to smash Google, in my opinion, and change that, I don't think it's going to hit YouTube as often, because it's not actually as, AI isn't to the point where it can create videos at scale like it can with articles. So YouTube videos that really speak to an audience and go deep in a topic, along with being able to increase that visitor to lead conversion rate, I think is going to become more important.
Sorry, can I just say, I'm really sorry I've not really been chatty. I was speaking with one of the other speakers that was meant to come on. Final tech issue of the day, I can only have 11 speakers on stage. So thankfully, Christy's got a launch thing, Sam's poorly, and the other speaker was very sweet and said that she was with her child anyway, so it's fine. So, but I'm just going to, I don't know if we wanted to go into that a bit more, but I quite like this question. How did you decide to niche down? My issue right now is deciding what niche to get into. So I will just quickly say, with mine, like Sam, for instance, he talks about Squarespace, and Dave is a niche. My clients don't care whether their website is on WordPress, Squarespace. They have no idea what the platform is. So my niche is coaches, because it was something I was personally interested in. That's why I started doing it. And I also know that coaches like to spend money, or they're trained to spend money, whereas people like therapists and healers, for instance, they're probably some of my clients, but they're generally don't like to spend money. I think some people on here might work with artists, but generally when I've worked with artists in the past, they don't want to spend as much money as my services are. So if you are going to niche, like, this is just my opinion, like I would niche on somebody that you've got like a little bit more, maybe has more budget. That would be mine. Does anybody else want to speak on niching?
So I'd say Squarespace is the niche, and then if you want to drill any further down, then you're just like turning away stuff. So to Liz's point, fair enough. If you're talking with coaches, they don't really care what platform it's on. But for other people, if you've put yourself out as a Squarespace designer and that's what you're offering, then if you do niche, then you'll just get bored if you're just going to start like repeating and saying, oh, I'm only doing websites for people in the health industry. And so after you've done your 100th like health industry website, you're then just going to probably get bored doing the next one. And so one, have variety, and two, just getting the opportunity just to then just explore what other people are doing, because you'll take the ideas from one person and then you'll convert it or translate it over to somebody else. And so you're essentially acting as the middle person for all these ideas that other different industries have had. And so that's why I would only niche down to a single platform, because also you want to become the master of that single platform rather than being like a GP who is like okay at a few different things. You want to be that real specific like skill itself. So anyway, those are a few things.
100% agree with that, Dave, because that's one of the first things I did when I set up the business. I went part-time into it, and I set it up just after my little terror was born, the one that kind of gate crashed halfway just at the start of the Q&A for us. And actually, it was her older sister. Long story short, I went out there and said that I'm just focused on Squarespace brand and branding, and I stuck with it throughout the whole of that time period. Now, back then, when it was 9 years ago when I did that, I kind of felt a bit reluctant, thinking there are so many website designers out there. Why are they going to pick me? Why should I just specifically choose one platform? Because I've got background in WordPress and developer tools and stuff like that. So for me, it was like, this is taking a big risk, moving away from everything else, but focusing on one thing. And I've learned that over time, that if it's the one thing that I'm known for, it is just a lot of the people in my network who I get recommended to or from, they all know that that's the thing that I do. And then with that comes the addition of like branding and then the design for print and stuff like that. But that's not the only thing that we'll provide. So I think it's important to kind of stick with it, even through the highs and the lows, when you think that something might not be working and there are other platforms to look at. I've always just stuck with it.
Okay.
Why muddy water, essentially?
I think when it comes to niche too, like you need to think about, it's not really a recommendation that anyone can give anyone else. It's all about you, like learning yourself and learning what your goals are, what your, like we do this activity. It's like, what's my perfect day look like? What's my perfect week look like? My perfect month? And that kind of helps you decide. I feel like, you know, when Dave was saying like, I would get really bored doing one niche, like one industry, that's the same way that I would be. But Liz immediately was like, nope, I want to do that. So I think it's like Squarespace is your thing. Squarespace is my thing. Drea is the same, like Squarespace is her thing. For me, I learned a lot about myself in the last like year or so that I cannot, because when I imagine like what my perfect day and week is, I can't do full website design anymore. So I just do help, and I do, you know, I'll do like quick gen, like for a day packages or Zoom coaching. I had to modify my business when I realized how my, like the direction my life is going, and also what works with my own, like my ADHD craziness, like how I can benefit my clients the best way. So I think when you think about your niche, I think it needs to like be really come from within, I guess, because it's different for everyone. So
that's a really good point. Are you off, Kirsten? Did you say? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Bye. Okay, so top 3 reasons to I'm gonna like have this up for a sec because it's gonna cover some of your faces. Top 3 reasons to express to orgs to move away, Dylan, from WordPress and onto SSS.
Yeah.
What, I don't know if people, oh, Kirsten Martin has like written in there, isn't she great? And Krishna. Some of you have already.
I have.
Oh, right. I'm gonna move on to the next one because you've all answered that. Is blogging, did we answer this? Is blogging even around? Yeah, great. Amazing. Then we've got another SEO one. Oh, it's all for you, Henry.
That one.
We've done that one, great.
Yeah.
What level of customization do you direct clients away from SS onto a platform like WordPress? Never, because it's horrible.
Well, it's what features and functionality are they actually after? So, for example, if someone comes with,
we don't like it, we want to send to another designer.
But it's like, let's say they are, well, like, I don't know, they're like a real estate agent, and so it's like, oh, flip, how am I going to build this on Squarespace? You can do it, but like, is that the point where you might push them somewhere else, or are they doing like journalism and they want to build out a massive like news website, and so they want to do a whole load of other things? Maybe there's that, or there's a whole e-commerce thing, and so it's like, okay, actually, are they better off having Shopify or something equivalent? And so it's really, I often quite quickly in my discovery calls, I'm basically a consultant to then find out what are they actually after, and then from that side of things, it's like, okay, is Squarespace the answer or not? And then, right, let's carry on the conversation.
That's a really good answer, Dave. I like that when you're saying about real estate and journalists, like a news site and stuff. There's some great examples for when it might be time. I remember, oh gosh, it's one of my favorite things when I met all of you on that Circle Day Q&A at the end, and I was asking all of these questions because we had screen time at that time, and Dylan said that he had this project. And do you mind me saying, Dylan, like the cost and stuff? Because I was blown. He was like, Dylan said, I was like, what's the most expensive website you've all ever done? And Dylan was like, 50 grand. And I was like, what are you doing for 50 grand? Why is it 50 grand? And then he was like, oh, it's got over 1,000 blogs that I need to migrate from WordPress to Squarespace. And I was like, you can keep it. And I think sometimes we think that these things sound exciting. Well, I do. I'm like, 50 grand website, I'll do that. But 1,000+ blogs, no. I'd rather do a 1,000 pound website. Thank you very much. So I just had to share that, Dylan, because I thought that was bonkers. Has anybody else, like, hands up? Anyone had like a really, I think my most expensive sort of brand project has been about 10-12 grand, and that's when I'm doing like all of the things in there. What's everyone's most expensive project? I'm really intrigued.
Like 20k.
20. Anyone else? Any higher?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, Krishna.
No, that was it. It's about the same, but it depends on what it is that they want. Because
Okay.
obviously, with being a brand designer, you can add on to loads of things, and the product can just escalate.
So when you have had these like really high end, the high ones that maybe some of our people that are watching, like I was, thinking that they're like quite amazing, do you find that when it is at that level, is it lots of things like transferring over blogs, and it's lots of stuff like Will needs to do and developers and
It's
SEO stuff?
It's like the real technical stuff. So,
Yeah.
for example, one that comes to mind is they needed member space adding. They then needed multiple universal filters adding, not only applying to like tables, and then applying to events, applying to blogs. They then needed like an advanced map filter to then do searching based on the number of locations that they had. And then you needed like a preview version of certain pages, and then go into a locked version. And then the scale of the site was over 100 pages. And so with all of that technical like functionality that's required, that then puts the price on like, what's the job going to be?
So not fun for somebody like me, but very fun for you, Dave, Dylan, and Will, and I don't know. I feel like Kate might have liked that. I don't know, Tasha, Jen. I don't know, but not for me.
I
Henry.
like a turn and burn. Turn and burn. Then when they grow and they get big enough, then I send them off to you guys.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. I'm like, over 10, I'm okay. And over 10 pages. Yeah. Henry, I do post-production for YouTubers. Have you noticed length of time on videos do better than others in terms of views?
I'd be lying if I said I knew about YouTube. I post videos that go with my blogs. That's all. That's it. So sorry, I can't answer that question.
I like that. I like that you didn't try and bullshit that. Well done. Where are the best places to market your web design templates?
I'll take that one. So really, wherever you already do your marketing, if you have a particular marketing channel that you are very successful with, then continue with that. I think that in the current online marketing climate, it's more important than it used to be to kind of be present on more channels. So, if you're currently blogging, maybe add YouTube. I'm going to be adding YouTube and a podcast later this year. But basically, just start with where you already are marketing. The people who are your clients are the same types of people that you're going to be selling your templates to, just at a different price point. So it's the same type of client, it's just at a different level, basically.
Okay, thank you, Kay. I'm glad we had a template one. So you felt, the expert of templates. Okay, what's in your opinion is the best channel for website inquiries? I purely get mine through LinkedIn at the moment, but looking to grow. I must say, I'm like, Instagram's not my thing. That's more portfolio, and I batch mine in a year in advance and schedule it in. LinkedIn, I posted once or twice on there, and I got an inquiry from it, and I never post on there. And I was really quite astounded by how well that worked for me with so little engagement. And I think, Henry, I know you're on there, but yeah, what's everyone's opinion on the best channel for website inquiries? Can we just do a real everybody just say the channel that works best for them, and it might just be referrals. So Christine, you're first.
I would say either referrals or people just contact me directly. Like they found my blog and they fill out my contact form. My own channel. I own the channel.
The blog. Okay. Tasha?
I would say mine is my website and TikTok, funny enough.
Okay, and your website, is that through blogging or SEO stuff that you feel like people find it?
SEO. I haven't been posting lots of vlogs, so it's
Okay, so it's just
been
SEO.
really going yeah.
Henry, okay, Henry's liking this. Henry, how about you? You're going to tell me, aren't you? You're going to tell me it's Instagram.
Yeah, the reels, loads of reels. SEO, yeah.
Okay,
I've got to practice what I preach.
Yeah, I know.
Referrals, just doing good work, you get good referrals, and that's where.
So referrals for you, but how do you feel like you started to get your referrals? Because mine was always word of mouth, and it never started from like blogs and then word of mouth.
It for us, it started with just a couple friends that we were doing websites with, and then the co-working space we were at. Actually, that's probably another great one if you're getting started. Being in some type of physical space community with other people, that's bumping around other humans and telling them about what you do is a great place to get started and just sort of kickstart that referral process. So that's probably the best when we were getting started.
That's what Kirsten said as well. Jen, Drea?
So sadly, I think that like we get fed a lot of our clients through the Squarespace marketplace. So I feel like both of us, like we have really just been trying to kind of focus more on marketing. Like if you look, my SEO, my social media is horrible, but we're working on it. But I would say that like YouTube is a sneaker for me because I really don't do a lot with YouTube. But every time I throw a video, like I'm even without putting content on there, I'm getting like 5 to 10 new followers a week, and I'm always like, why am I not spending more time there? But I think it's also the hashtags that I'm using because I'm using like the really like more voice search optimization hashtags, like, I don't know. But yeah, I'd say YouTube is a place where I need to spend a lot more time. And Instagram, believe it or not, I've been getting a lot of leads from. So yeah.
Oh, great. Well, that's good.
I've been getting a lot of direct leads from clients' website. They're clicking on my name at the bottom when I put website designed by. So I get
that.
Really direct. Yeah. Lately,
which we had a whole debate with Phil Palin about because I don't do that. She does it. It works for her. I don't like to put my name on stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's how I do it too, Drea. A lot my referral stuff. And Dave?
A lot started by putting the name on the bottom, but then I've taken my name off the bottom of certain people's because you hand it over to the client and it's basically in their own world, and so therefore I go in and I just remove myself.
I named it on certain ones. So.
I know 105 people live are just all going, oh yeah.
But I've had some great links from like a couple of sites which have like tens of thousands of views that come to the site itself, and so you happen to have your like name in the bottom because you've done the project, and so then you end up picking up bits of different jobs. And then similar to like Jen, we get quite a lot through Squarespace's marketplace, but there's just quite a lot of like volume that comes through, and so the amount that might turn into like an actual job itself is not necessarily as many as the leads that you might come through. So
it's more like quantity over quality sometimes with that one.
Correct.
Okay.
And then you need to weed it out.
I'm a bit more niche, and like I'm a bit more, I don't know if I'm quite a bit more expensive than you and nuanced with, not nuanced, but it's the wrong word, but like I am niche-y person to what you might get in because you do such a varied thing when you do marketplace. Kate?
SEO.
If you have a high traffic site like that, Dave, like that, I don't want people to know that my name's on it. I actually make my link in it the same color as the footer. So
I do very like opacity.
But I'm still linked on their website, so I'm still getting SEO.
Oh, exactly. I've got a site that has like 2 million views in a year, and so I'm a hidden like backlink sitting on their site. Yeah. So yeah, in that sense, I'm there, but I'm not there. So
I don't want to shit on anyone's parade, but Google doesn't actually really count the links in footers.
So, in fact, they can even be viewed as write that down. So I'm not writing that down.
So where should we put them?
You put them in the footer, but like if you can sneak them in a blog somewhere, or like potentially didn't come from me.
Add a link in the footer to a different page that's like a site credits page. It's going to be thin content, but it's a better alternative to putting it directly in the footer.
Okay, good. Good to know, Kate. Thank you.
So
that's great.
That's great, Henry.
Christy's just joined the call, and I'm not sorry to call on Christy, but one of the reasons her site ranks so well is maybe Christy hasn't built as many sites as like other Squarespace design agencies, but Christy has a lot of links from Squarespace, from like people that have because she's like an OG, right? So people know Christy. Whereas there's other Squarespace designers where they're like, oh, how come it doesn't rank as high? They've got a higher domain authority, but it's because of that.
Thinking.
Okay, well, for me, the being in the footer is good because it's referral. I don't see it more for an SEO thing, but that is really interesting to know. Thank you, Henry. So, Kate, you've answered SEO because you've got your SEO course as well. Krishna?
So I'm going to go complete opposite to everyone else. I get a lot of inquiries that come through networking. So I go to quite a lot of events locally in Cambridge, but also wherever else I can find them.
I always see you on your stories. You're like, I'm at an event, and I enjoy doing networking stuff, but I don't really do it. But it's just when you connect with people, it works.
It's the goal is connecting with people. So my thing is just like, I think it's a going into my childhood, I've always kind of been thrown in when we go to anything as family. So being able to go out there and just talk to people and like learn their stories and hear about what their background is, it's just so interesting to me. And that just sparks conversation. And then from that, because I'm already out, I'm just talking to so many people. And then we connect either on LinkedIn or Instagram. And actually a lot of work came in through Instagram first. So that's where business started picking up. I thought, okay, business is scaling, it's growing, let's change the channel and see how it's working out. But the crux of it all is, for me, it's actually networking and referrals and recommendations, because when you do a good job, it comes back tenfold, I think, but just over time. And then keeping in touch with everyone is really hot on my radar, which is just insane because my brain does not sleep.
And I think another thing about the networking piece is when you do connect with people, even though they're not wanting a website, and it is a genuine connection, it's not just because you're trying to get business. You care about what they're saying. If they know somebody, they'll refer you. Okay, Dylan, next. Sorry, Christy, we're all doing like our best channel for website inquiries.
I would say, to be honest, Squarespace Marketplace, I get over half of them probably. That huge one came through it. So there is a lot of volume, but I've got someone on my team that filters through it all. Apart from that, though, organic, like Google search, SEO, I guess, and a bit of referrals probably.
And
you run ads as well?
And I run ads. I've started running ads recently.
Oh, okay. What was the one that you said came through it?
The huge project, the 50K one.
The 50K one came through Squarespace. I can't talk. Like Marketplace, because I'm like, don't like just really cheap.
No, we've had
through that.
So go on, Dave.
We've had like household known business come to us for that as well. So because
same, I've also gotten 2 really big ones.
Well, I'm quite shocked. I'm sorry. But are they quite? I think it's just because I like all of my coachy, spiritual-y people and stuff, and I like all my other stuff too. But like, are they all? What are the businesses like that you get?
These are corporates that are coming through.
Yeah.
There's a big range. I would say there's a huge range. There's a lot of people that want a lot for like $500.
Yes.
So you have to be able to play the game of, it's a numbers game. You have to be able to say, okay, we're going to filter through all of these ones. 70% of them might be rubbish, but 30% might, or 20% might be okay. And then 10% might be like really, really good, solid leads.
That's interesting. I might start doing that a bit this year. I mean, don't know if it will work for me, but anyway. Christy.
Yes, thanks for letting me in.
I didn't. I got here, to be honest. I don't know who we left. Did somebody come off? Because I'm only allowed 11 on the stage.
No, I was here when she went off. I was in the background.
Who came off? Who came off? Who came off?
Kirsten.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Great. Awesome. Sorry. Carry on.
SEO for me. Yeah. I think Henry hit the nail on the head with that. So that's what works for me too.
SEO. And do you like your client? Like, this is awful if anybody who's not on here, but like, do you? Because I was just going to say, whenever I've had people through SEO, I've never really vibed with them like I do when I get my referral ones. Do you?
I think for me, I get enough that I can pick the ones that I want to work with.
Yeah.
So I self-select the people that I'm like, I'm going to enjoy working with this person and on this project. And then the rest I can just, send on their merry way.
And what do you do? Do you refer them to people?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I remember back in the day, I would have been like, refer them to me.
I would not want them.
But I would not want them. I would not want them. Let me see if there are any more questions. Henry, SEO. People are like loving the SEO questions today, which is cool. SEO and file names. I see a couple of SEO experts talking about that, but then seeing plus signs all over, which come from blanks in file names. What is really correct?
I guess I'll do more like a general one first. Like if you're worrying about file names when it comes to SEO, you're focusing on the wrong thing. Like
I like that. Okay.
File names isn't going to be the thing that makes or breaks your SEO. Christy isn't page 1 of Google for Squarespace website designer because she spent time on her file names. I bet she spent.
We all know. Yeah, I don't have that kind of level of detail. So yeah.
I've done all of my file names. I was such a good SEO student for Kate's course. Like I did everything. Now I know it's not important, but it's done.
No, it's not that it's not important. Like it just depends upon the levels that you're trying to play at. Like if you want to get your accessibility on point and you want to make sure that you've checked all your boxes because you want that peace of mind, of course. And in competitive industries, you want to make sure you're pushing everything that you possibly can. But like for most people, it's not going to make or break your SEO.
Okay, cool. But sorry, I've just got distracted then with something to do with letting somebody else in. With the plus sign, so what I got, and I think it's from Christie's free naming image thing. Like everybody here, I actually have one of my friends in the UK Squarespace group, and if anybody's in there, you should come along to that. It's awesome. Tasha and Sam started it, and somebody was saying, how do I name my file image names? Like I really struggle with that. And Christy's got a really cool little free course on her site showing you how to name things, because I'd taken courses before, but I think I still struggled with that little bit. So that's a really good course for anybody there. And I think, but I don't know if it was you or Kate that taught me at the time about like putting a hyphen between each word. But I've seen some people when I save stuff and they've got like a little plus. I don't know if like a plus is okay, but I felt like I was told to just do hyphens. So
the hyphen is the best formatting, but like Henry said, it's not the most important thing. But if you want to check all the boxes, which I do with my blog posts, just because it takes me less than a second to do it. If it's part of your routine and it's really fast, then why not? But just don't think about the name too much. Just make sure you include your keyword somewhere in one of the file names of one of the images on your post. That's really all you need to think about.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you got the hyphen either from Kate or me. I think we both share that because that's how Google can parse words. Like if you just put all the words together, it doesn't know where one word stops and the next one starts. And the hyphen is just like, oh, I know where the words are now.
It's the same as the URL structure, essentially. The file name's just following the same theme. The other thing from an accessibility side is from like your videos that the voiceover will basically read the file name. So if your file name is something rather silly, then it's not necessarily going to be great. And so in that sense, if you want the description to be put in connected to your video, then at least put like a sensible equivalent like alt tag on your video name. Yeah, that's something I came across recently.
I tell you what though, guys. So the speaker info doc that I've put in here today, I had it in a Canva doc and I didn't rename the doc. I have no idea what was in this previously, but it's called body. And I'm like, is this because I've got a vision board and I was probably like body images? Like this is sort of like my health goals for the year. And I'm like, this is super professional. What else was I going to say? Christine, you didn't say anything about like when we were talking about expensive sites. do you not get, I would think that you would probably be somebody that has expensive sites come to you because you are e-com. Like, what's your most expensive site?
I'm not saying. Lips are sealed.
Oh, no fun. Okay, is there anything else? I don't think there's any more. Yeah, she's not saying a thing. Right. I've really enjoyed today. Is there anything anybody wants to chat about, like a key thing? To be honest, I quite like Sam's thing about, and I don't think I will use it, but I did think it was cool, was how the markup, how you can get your clients to annotate what they want to change if you are more in corporate and there's lots of people looking at it, which my people won't do. I thought it kind of blew my mind a little bit in Olga's one with the grids. I think I'm kind of going to stick with Photoshop because I know it. And I think all of those grids, I think it's something that I need to learn a little bit more. What else? Will's blew my mind. I actually enjoyed learning about code.
Good.
It was like when you did that with the video with the overlap, and I was just like, that's so cool. And it looked easy. It looked easy as soon as you know the membership coding and what to like it not just being a video, but the video within that video block was cool.
Yeah, once you know sort of the logic. Yeah.
And I love the Harry Potter stuff because obviously I'm like obsessed with Harry Potter and that's like my background music. Christy, I love the button fill. Like, how the fuck did I get you to talk about the image fill? And then I didn't know that you could do image fill or not with the button. I was just like, oh.
But the accordion thing, I think, was genius, though. Like, that's really annoyed me when the image goes and stretches. And so the fact you just drop it one bit lower, I thought,
yeah, the thing I forgot to say was, like, if you have anything else in that section underneath, it won't work. So you would have to use the hack of putting another section underneath. But yeah, that image growing thing drives me crazy. So
yes. Christy, I went through and changed my whole website so that all of my little sections, like, I'm so happy. I'm gonna sleep so good tonight. Thank you.
That makes my heart so happy, Jen.
It was so good. And what was the other one that I've totally mind blanked, and it was Dave. So I hope you don't mind, Dave. Like, I know you might have written this code copy, but like I feel like you're really generous and stuff with like your code. But I have this thing with my MailerLite where I and you don't even know about this, Dave, that this is what's happened, and I've used some of your code because a friend gave it me.
I don't think it's actually my code. I'm gonna have to fess up.
Really? Because they were like, Dave gave it me, and I'm like, oh great, well show me. So in MailerLite, if anybody has a MailerLite system, and I've tried to get Christy to help me with it, and you did one day with a client site, but I couldn't figure out how to do it again. And when you do MailerLite and you copy the HTML code once you've created a form block, it shows a preview. And I had it on the Summit page when I had the sign up form at the beginning, and it made my design not look very good because I couldn't shrink it because the preview wouldn't shrink. So Dave had this code that made it so that you could shrink it.
So the originator was Chris Schwartz. Okay. And so he's basically worked out how to hide the preview embedded bit.
Yeah.
So with a bit of CSS, you then add that, which then means you can just pull up the bottom.
Yeah.
And you don't get this blank space. So it will happen on any code blocks that are out there. But
not just MailerLite.
No, any code blocks where you're having some extra stuff. But there's some of Will's things that you've just done some stuff recently with like video blocks, which I think is genius. Where you don't have to stick with the traditional like 16:9, and you can turn it into like a vertical video or freeform. There's some stuff that you've done that like again blows my mind. I'm like, genius.
Oh well, do you know what what I'm gonna do, guys, is after this is over, I'm gonna send out an email to everybody with a replay. I'm going to do that in the next, I'm really going to send an email out on Monday if I can figure out how. I don't really want this to be live just yet. And I'm hoping to get the recordings out on Monday. So like, Dave, what Will just said then, like, if that's really cool, if you can sort of say a little bit of what that is, maybe send me an email with it and I can put that in the email. If anybody has anything that they think that has come up in today's talk that you think you'd like to just answer in a snippet and I can put it in there. That would be really great. I just want to find actually one more thing. Kate, I loved how you said in your talk about how you do your branding colors for a template. And this is really interesting. So when I'm doing it for a client, I am more, I like, who are they and what's their Pinterest board? And then I find the colors. But when you are doing templates, it's so different because when you're trying to source all of these imagery and this stock imagery that looks the same, has the same feeling, and then you're like, but I wanted to do a pink and blue template, but you found like this great image source and it's actually greens and reds. Sounds horrible, but like, I really like how you said that you then pick the colors from your image sources. And I never heard of that before. So I really enjoyed that.
I think most people don't do it that way. I put up an Instagram poll once, like a year or two ago, and asked brand designers, do they pull colors from images or the other way around? And everyone except for one person said that they like to do it the other way around, which didn't make any sense to me. But yeah, for my template design process, always pulling the colors from the photos, it makes the whole process a lot faster and easier, especially if you're not a brand designer, because there are a lot of web designers who are creating branding for templates because it's not for a client. They can't work in tandem with a brand designer for that in the same way.
Yeah, well, I thought that was really interesting. I think as doing branding, generally, my clients sometimes haven't had their photo shoot, so we sort of think about what they want their branding to be. But a lot of the time, it's to do with your clothes, you know, and what you wear and what's around your home and stuff like that. Right, I am going to sign off because I've like totally gone over, and I've just enjoyed chatting with you all. I hope you've had a great day, speakers. Thank you so much. Round of applause for all like being here throughout the day, being here now. I really appreciate you sharing all of this content for free and speaking and sharing your knowledge. It's been awesome. There is the speaker info if anybody still wants to click that button there, and you can download that. I'll put that in the email. Everybody, I can't believe there's still 100 of you here. I know some of them are the speakers, but whatever. I'm still like buzzing that there's been this many of you live. And pretty much, I'm going to say it's 700 people signed up. 5 people, whatever, 700 guys. So that's been really cool. I hope you enjoy the replay. I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to go and just call this a day. And I'm going to keep us in the green room just for a second. And then, yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Job well done, guys.